Students asked how to prepare for the high holidays. He sent them to observe the simple keeper of an inn, and her name was Miriam. The students were a little confused as to why they needed to go to an inn and waited to discover the answer to their question. How do we prepare for Rosh Hashanah? At midnight before the holiday, taking down 2 large notebooks from the shelf. She sat down on a small stool, lit a candle, and began reading from one of the notebooks and transgressions the innkeeper had committed in the course of the year. The date, the time, the circumstance of each gossip one day, oversleeping on another, spending her money on something silly, and then not having any for the beggar outside her inn, was bathed in tears. For more than an hour, Miriam read and wept until the last page had been turned. She then opened up the second notebook, and this too was a diary of all the troubles and misfortunes that had befallen her in the course of the year. On one day, someone had said something mean to Miriam. On another day, another time, their cow had died and there was no milk until enough pennies had been saved to buy another. When she had finished reading the second, "So you see, God, I have sinned against you. I have made mistakes. Last year, I repented and promised to do the right thing, but I'm human and begged you for a year of health and prosperity, and I trusted in you that it would indeed be a good year. And instead, it has been a hard year. You are having an even harder time than me. Dear God, today is the eve of Rosh Hashanah when everyone acknowledges their mistakes and forgives of me, and you didn't always do what was asked of you. And we can't go back and change the past, but we can learn from it. Dear God, let us have compassion with one another and allow ourselves to forgive and grow in this year ahead." And then Miriam said, "Amen." 300 years from now, the Jewish people, plagued by illness, gathered together in whatever way they could to once again recount their mistakes and their hardships, to once again ask for and grant forgiveness and open their hearts to love. We are not in our memories and our hopes for the future. My name is Rabbi Rachel Gross-Prinz, and today, instead of Miriam, we will be guided, and they'll also share their goals and hopes for the future. Together, we will sing out to the heavens as one, and we do expect and hope that you will join with us in prayernyc.org. Joining me today are Rabbis Ehrlich, Kahn, and Davidson, Cantorial Intern Sara Anderson, Director of Lifelong Learning Saul Kaiserman, Hadar Orshalimi. Shana Tova. Let's open our book of life and start a new year together.
As a part of the teen community over the last several years, Rosh Hashanah has become for me a day to reflect on the past year and look at both the good and the bad. I think about the two most important aspects of my life, whether it's academically or socially. I then set goals for myself after reflecting on the past year. Education is a major value in Judaism, and that's a big reason why my parents have encouraged me to do the best I can in school, which has shaped me into the student I am. Besides academics, the most important thing to me in life is to try to be the best person I can be and to treat people as well as possible. This means being very respectful and not judging people. I don't like being disrespected and judged by others, so I always try to treat others. If there's one thing that I hope y'all take away from this EU, it is to use today to think about what you can improve upon in your life. As Jews, we know that we are not perfect, but we can always try to be.
Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשכה ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך עשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
The book of life will decide what happens in the coming year and will write it down. To me, this concept has always felt like a lot of pressure. On the first 10 days of this new year, my past actions are reviewed and my future is cemented in place. How can I expect to live up to this standard? And what happens if I do not? Speech. What I have realized, though, as a young Jewish woman, is that I'm not expected to have all of the answers to my questions. I'm not expected to know what to do or how to act. The book of life is not here to hold me to the highest possible standard. Instead, I've realized my part in the book of life is not only centered around me. Our choices and stories have the power to impact others. In times like these, we see this in our obligation to wear a mask and realize that our standards and the actions that are required to reach them impact others. We have a chance to write a more colorful, more vibrant book of life for ourselves and possibly assist in
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בכל. שירה חדשה, שיר בחוג גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים. יחו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Na 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 שפתי תפתח. Na 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 תהילתך. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו, זוכרנו, זוכרנו לחיים, בעטנו וחוטבנו בספר החיים, למענך, למענך, אלוהים חיים. מלך עוז אברהם ועזרת שרה.
Is it being able to go to school and work, hugging friends and non-immediate family? Normal means something different to everyone and implies that we need to work backwards in order to return to a time of new beginnings. It is crucial to reflect on experiences in the past year in order to enact change within ourselves and our community. Additionally, the so-called normal time we used to live in was riddled with inequity, hatred, and violence. In 5780, we confronted a global health crisis, but all continue to exist as sure realities for many of us. And over the past 4 months or so, I found myself and my peers grappling with how to eliminate the biases which we as we can now. The pandemic and time in isolation has been a wake-up call, reminding us of just how much needs to be fixed. Every year on Rosh Hashanah, we hear the sound of the shofar, also considered a wake-up call. That loud sound acts as a symbolic, a secret blessing, allowing time for us to heal as we prepare to abolish systems of oppression. And thus I urge you to think to yourself right now, what can you do? What is your vision of a more perfect world, and how can you mold yourself into that narrative? This year is different than any other, and our resolutions are more than cleaning the closet or going to the gym. The promises we make to ourselves today could have ramifications in the world we shape for future generations. So no, we should not return to normal.
We should forge a new path, one that acknowledges the unimaginable loss.
This has been a year filled with challenges and changes, and for some of you, disappointments too. And it's important for us to acknowledge them all. When the coronavirus, before you felt the impact of being separated from friends, from sports and activities that you love, and yes, from your school and even the teachers who get you. Maybe you had to skip the pleasures of family visits with grandparents, and maybe even summer plans. Some of you have experienced an additional burden. Perhaps a loved one became trying to keep things as normal as possible. At times like this, we reach out to others, parents and loved ones and friends, whether physical or emotional or spiritual. If there's someone you know who is in need of healing, or if you do yourself, we invite you to share those names aloud with us now, or to add them to the chat box if you wish. For all those named aloud, and those named in our hearts, we continue with the prayer for healing.
That was a place to dwell with the world that is, and a place to welcome the world to come. As we step into this new year, I invite you to take this moment of silent reflection to absorb this sacred time and the renewal that it brings with it.
You
Avinu Malkeinu, be kind to us and answer us, even though we have not been as good as we could have been. Be righteous and loving to us, and save us.
Today's portion, Parashat Vayera, describes God's test to see if Abraham fears God and only God. It is the story of the Akedah, a test involving Abraham's young son, Isaac. 3 years ago at Rosh Hashanah, I stood on the bima and asked the congregation, as I ask you all today, was God only testing Abraham's devotion, or was it a test for Isaac as well? In other words, did Isaac have a choice to not accompany his father up the mountain? Similarly to the Akedah, at this moment in time, we might come to believe that it is the adults, our parents, political leaders, public health experts, our Abrahams, whose judgment and morals are being tested. However, I believe that it is us too, we children, the Isaacs, whose characters are being tested right now. It is Isaac, not Abraham, who chose to give his life. It is Isaac who placed his faith in his father and in God. Yet Isaac chose not to raise his voice. He did not even ask a question of his father or of God. When we become bar and bat mitzvah, we are taught to ask questions, to not place blind trust in authority or the stories within the Torah, but to come to believe them ourselves. One of the most important things we are taught to do is question. Yet Isaac did not ask one. For as much respect as I have for Isaac, that he felt so strongly in his beliefs that he would sacrifice his life for them, I cannot reconcile that he did not question. Right now, it feels like the world is testing us as children, as we strive to build a brighter future for ourselves, for our family and friends of color, and for our community as Jewish people. If this moment is a test, our own Akedah, I am honestly not sure what to draw from the story of Abraham and Isaac. Should we follow our Abrahams up the mountain on faith alone, without questioning? Or should we do as we're taught and question the choices made by the adults in our lives until we arrive at our own beliefs? So as you listen to the portion, I want you to consider Isaac not as a distant Torah character, but as a teenager, making a life or death choice about what he believes in.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim Ve'natan La.
Amen.
Amen. Vayikra elav malach Adonai min hashamayim, vayomer Avraham, Avraham, vayomer hineni, vayata'as lo meuma, ki ata yadati, ki Elohim ata, ולא חסכת את בנך את יחידך ממני. ויישא אברהם את עיניו וירא והנה עיל אחר נחז בצבא עיל ויעלהו לעולה תחת בנו ויקרא אברהם שם בהר אדוני יראה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
There's a phrase that we chazak v'nit chazek, and we've taken that to become our watchword as a community. So won't you join together in saying these words with me, first 3 times in English and then together in Hebrew. We are strong, getting stronger, getting strength. We are strong, getting stronger, getting strength from each other. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek.
Today, young and old are awoken, guided forth into the year by the sound of the shofar. The shofar ripped from the body of an animal to create its own blast. The shofar created through a breaking off from its source, its foundation. The shofar. Psalm 118, before the sounding of the shofar. From the narrows I call out to you, answer me in the divine expanse. Min hametzar karatia, anani b'merchavya. The shofar. Is it broken or is it whole? From a place of brokenness, a call can form, the opening can come if we don't hide that something has broken, that life will not be the same, and if we remember that we are not alone. From the narrows, I call out to you. Answer me in the divine expanse.
Thank you, Rabbi Davidson. That was awesome. Thanks so much for explaining to us about the shofar. You know, the shofar is one of my favorite parts of the holiday, not only because of the sounds that it makes, and not only because of how awesome it looks, but also because of this song. And I'm going to get to sing it with all of my friends here, and we're going to get to sing together about the different calls that it makes, and guess what? We're going to get to use our voices to make those calls. So sing with me, everyone. Here we go. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. Your turn. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. All right, my friends. The first sound that the shofar makes is called tekiah. Let's hear you say it with me. Tekiah. Get ready. Here we go. Tekiah. You got it. And tekiah is one long sound, and we need a little bit of air for that, so take a deep breath. And we're going to take it out on tekiah. Here we go. Tekiah. You try it. Tekiah. Rabbi Davidson, let's hear you. And clap your hands. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. All right. The second sound that the shofar makes is called shevarim. Can we say that together? Let's try that. Shevarim. Here we go. Shevarim. You got it. And it's kind of a wavy sound. So I'm going to ask you to take your hand and with me, let's say together. Shevarim. You try it. Shevarim. Rabbi Davidson, let's hear you. And who remembers the first sound the shofar made? Tekiah, clap your hands. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. All right. The third sound that the shofar makes is called teruah. Ooh, that's kind of hard on the tongue. Teruah. It's in the back of your throat. Let's see if we can say that together. Teruah. Your turn. Teruah. You got it. Now, I want you to take your hands and show me two fists like this. And very gently, we're going to tap our chest because this is a choppy sound and it sounds like this. Teruah. Your turn. Teruah. Very good. Rabbi Davidson, let's hear you. And what was our second sound? Shevarim. How about our first one? Tekiah, clap your hands. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. Okay, friends, we are about to sing and to hear the best sound that the shofar makes. We're going to hear a tekiah gedolah. That means long tekiah. So everyone say tekiah, tekiah, gedolah, gedolah. Put it together, tekiah gedolah, tekiah gedolah. And we need so much air for this one. So take a deep breath with me. No, we need more. Blow it out. Okay, let's take another breath. Nope, more. Okay, last time. This time we're going to take it out on tekiah gedolah. Get ready. Take a deep breath with me. Tekiah gedolah. Keep it coming. Everyone go like this. Whew. Let's hear Rabbi Davidson. Go ahead. Wow. And who remembers our third one? Teruah. What about our second one? Shevarim. And our first one? Tekiah. Clap your hands. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. One more time. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. A happy, happy, happy new year. Shana tova, everyone. Gamal chatima tova from us to you. We will see you all soon.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha, Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, shetechadesh aleinu ve'al kol beit Yisrael et hashana hazot, shanat chamishet alafim u'shva meot u'shmonim ve'echad, l'chaim u'shalom, l'sason u'simcha, l'yeshua u'nechama, v'nomar, Amen. May it be your will, eternal our God, God of all generations, that the year 5781 bring to us and the whole house of Israel life and peace, joy and exaltation, redemption and comfort. And let us say, Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וגימלנו
felt sluggish at all in these past few months? Have you felt afraid of what is to come and how to deal with it? Are you worried about not being able to go back to your normal life cycle once again? If you are not alone. I'm a rising senior in high school, and I was terrified of not having the senior year I dreamed of. I was sad I would not be able to see all my close friends and classmates the rest of the school year, and felt lazy because I had no choice but to stay home. I'm sure all of you have felt this in some form during this time, whether that be relating to your job, your sports activities, going to camp, anything you can imagine. Everything has been impacted by this pandemic. I'm here to tell you that that's okay. Everything you are feeling is completely normal. And most importantly, our lives will not be like this forever. But there is some Jewish wisdom that can help us survive and thrive in this time regardless. There's an ancient 2,000-year-old Jewish text from Pirkei Avot that states, "If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when?" This ancient text contains 3 important lessons for us. The first important lesson is about self-care. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? My fellow Noahites from tribes know this verse well. To persist during this time, we need to be there for ourselves. If we don't, who else will? This means we must take time for ourselves. Do not be afraid to say that you cannot do everything during this time. We can actually use this time to our benefit. We've all collectively seen that in life, not everything is going to go the way we imagine it. Nonetheless, we are still here. Whether you are sitting, standing, laying down, or wherever you are constantly persevering. The second lesson is about being there for others. Since I have been there for myself, I can now move on to the second part of the quote. If I'm only for myself, what am I? I now have the ability to take care of others since I have made time to heal and devote myself to activities I love. During the pandemic, I've been learning about racism, intertwined in the workings of this country and working on various racial justice events. I've really taken the time to educate myself about white privilege and the Black Lives Matter movement during this time, and I'm constantly working on my allyship. If I'm only for myself, what am I? Lastly, this pandemic and this quote teach us now or never, and if not now, when? The last part of this excerpt. When will you make the decision to start devoting yourself to things that make you happy? When will you decide to care for yourself the same way you care for others? And lastly, when will you decide to heal yourself and devote yourself to love? Tomorrow? Next week? The decision is completely in your hands. No matter what you are facing, a small problem or a serious hardship, you will get through it. Once you start believing in yourself and others, you will feel unconquerable.
Now, if not now, if not now, then when? You sing it. Now, if not now, if not now, then when? Second part goes na 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 na. Your voices sing na 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 na. Let justice roll like a river, and kindness like a mighty stream. Let the water
Aleinu means it is our duty. The Aleinu praises God for giving us a unique destiny as Jewish people and challenges us to think about the value we can have in the world. When I think of the meaning of this prayer, I am reminded of the Jewish concept of Tikkun Olam. Tikkun Olam is the aspiration to repair and bring peace and unity to the world through acts of kindness. As we welcome the new year, it is critical to think about the ways in which we can work towards repairing the world, especially at this time. Over the past months, much has taken place, and we have seen great division among us as people. Issues of public health and social justice have become polarized and politicized. However, amid these trying times, we have seen acts of kindness, such as people donating masks to hospitals and people protesting against the injustices and inequality in our country. As we reflect on the past year, we can consider the unique role each of us plays as Jews in repairing the world and be inspired by acts of kindness we have witnessed. Understandably, we have all faced disappointment recently. Due to recent events, we have been unable to attend our schools, have missed seeing our family, and have missed out on many other milestones. Despite this frustration, we can still strive to make this a year of action by attempting to heal the world through acts of kindness in our everyday lives. We can wear masks to protect others, check in on our neighbors, and respect our fellow citizens. These are things people of any and every age can do to fulfill their duties as Jewish people. Tikkun Olam is not just meant to repair the world in large ways, but rather to encourage unity among all people in ways both big and small. Shana Tova.
Bayom ha'u, yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
At this time, on this holy day, we remember those whom we have lost this year and in years past, whose memories inspire us to grow and to learn and live life with joy. If you are remembering someone at this time, I invite you to turn to those you're with and say their names aloud, or to share their names in the chat or the comments. We join together in comfort and memory as one with Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah. V'Alma Divrach Hirutei V'Amlich Malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal Shmei dekudesha brichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say together, Amen.
Leshana tova tikatevu, Leshana tova techatevu, a good year of peace we wish to you. Leshana tova tikatevu, Leshana tova techatevu, a good year of
God bless you and keep you. May God smile upon you and be kind to you. May God's presence be with you and bring you peace.